investment ideas. I wouldn't say that you can make money out of it, but at least you are able to generate investment ideas. First of all, you need an idea to in order for you to trade, right? So you need to have what data you need. You need to know where to get the data. You need to know how this data would actually affect the stock market sentiment, and that's where you need to follow me throughout this journey. And I believe that most of you are somehow trying to come into this Busa Idea Challenge to write a good report and things like that. But before you go into that, I think you need to also understand what are the type of traders you are, or how do you form a thesis. My way of doing things is always, is like mosaic theory. I'm not too sure whether you know this word before. Mosaic theory is that you take a lot of pieces, a lot of puzzle from different places, then you form, an investment case study together. So today I will just share with you what sort of things that you can actually gather out of this situation. Um, okay, so if we want to go through a lot of different sectors, I just want to pick a few of them right now. Today, I'll just discuss mainly on crude oil prices. I will just talk about why oil related is very relatable for us, and that's why I think we can use that as one example. Hold on a second, let me check. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so today I wouldn't be going into all the other sectors. I think banking will be relying on GDP, consumer sentiment, loans growth. Crude oil will look at just the macro factors, policies driven, and things like that. Best is you can understand which are the value chain of the company that you are investing in, and therefore you can actually sort of like understand when it should happen in terms of the share price rallying. Why do I say so? Is because different value chain of people, of companies will actually have their own timing to flourish, which means that when crude oil price is going up, it means that it should be good for the exploration and production people, companies. And if you are looking at the support and services company, it may take some time, like 2 quarters down the road, before their share price flourish. So that is why you need to understand where they are heading and how the share price react. So I think crude oil related counters, you need to know macro factors, policies driven, such as OPEC or even Russia is coming out with certain kind of policies, and therefore how should you react to it, and and you also can speculate what sort of policies that they are going to deal with. For instance, you know that OPEC is continuing with the trend of cutting production. Then if you speculate that they continue will cut the production, and therefore that will make the crude oil price higher, and that is where you form your thesis. And even in a gold related, you can also gold related sector. You can also look at gold prices trend, look at the industry players, evaluate the value chain, analyze the companies, and so on and so forth. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that each and every different sectors will need you to understand from a different point of view. And today we are going to try to give you an perspective of the market trend analysis. First of all, to understand the macro trends, identify prevailing economic and societal trends that shape the industry at a broader scale. And secondly, we are looking into industry trends to understand the growth prospects, the emerging technologies, and also market demand. So, generally speaking, we are looking into a bigger picture to understand what sort of sector, first of all, you want to trade or you want to invest, then followed by understanding the companies, then you to form the stocks that you want to trade in. Okay, so to track the macro trends, normally we will want to understand the macro events and understand what macro factors will affect the sector. So just now we have mentioned that we want to use oil-related industry as one of the sector to review today. I think it's very relatable, and you all would get all the you are all able to capture all the ideas behind it. Um, and macro events can be, recently we have this over the weekend of 2 weeks ago. There is a war happening in, Israeli and also Palestinian war, and therefore that contribute to the spike in also the crude oil prices. And that is one of the macro events. I mean, we don't know whether it will continue or follow through with more of this war, because Russia and Ukraine war didn't end. So but this kind of events is definitely one of the ways that to understand, when these things happens, what are the consequences and how should you react to it. And some of the macro factors, such as, OPEC having meeting every now and then, they have extended a few times in terms of um, the the production cut. For instance, the production cut is every month there is 1 million of cut per day, and therefore that contributed to all this kind of spike in terms of crude oil. So macro factors, macro events is very important, and therefore that is what you need to first of all understand how does this dynamic, or how does this event will actually contribute towards the overall picture of crude oil, and therefore how should you be investing in that area. Then also you can look into the industry growth prospects in terms of industry trends. You can look into industry growth prospects, total addressable market. You check the industry supply situation and where does the demand coming from. So, I mean, using oil as an example, generally we can think of that, the narrative is always to talk about, China, India, demand is, I mean, if the economic growth is there, therefore the demand for oil is there as well. But recently we have been talking, the narrative has been turning into sort of like China side is not picking up in terms of the economic activities, and therefore it is not really conducive for the oil price to continue higher. So that is why these are some of the demand and supply thing that you need to understand. Um, when we are going through the COVID period, a lot of people are thinking, demand will actually recover post-COVID, era. Then, so right now we have, out 3 years out after the post-COVID environment, but the demand is still not picking up. And how is the oil prices reacting to it? Currently, it's still supporting well above the 70, 80 US dollar per barrel level. And recently, with the war itself, then the Brent oil prices spike up even further towards 90 US dollar. So these are some of the areas, that you can look for trading opportunities. So where do I find all this information? You can actually go to oilprice.com, because as we understand, all this oil related stuff are actually very relatable to us, because we have Petronas in Malaysia, and also we are always being viewed as an commodity nation, and therefore that has helped us understand the oil related counters better. And in our Malaysian market, we are only having a handful of them under the exploration and production companies, and the rest are actually related to support and services sector. So they rely on contracts. So understanding the oil price trend is also very important. So this is the Brent oil prices chart. You can also use the technical analysis point of view to understand whether right now is it conducive for the E&P exploration and production companies, and how does this reflect into their earnings, and how this value will actually contribute to the midstream or even downstream players. So that is how you can craft your ideas based on all these events out there. Okay, so sector analysis point of view, this will be on towards to understand the value chain. So industry analysis, you can actually conduct understanding of the value chain of the specific industry, and then drill down towards company analysis, evaluate the financial health, management competency, and growth potential of individual companies operating within that chosen sector. So if you have chosen oil related counters, you have to understand which are the area. So I would always look at industry, first. So which means that which industry you want to go into, and whereabouts, which means that value chain, which value chain you want to invest into. That is very important. So for instance, if the oil price is spiking up, then therefore you have to go find something that's related to oil beneficiary or oil volatility beneficiary. So I would always use the idea that when crude oil is having a very volatile up or down, it should affect hibiscus. Okay, because hibiscus is basically the E&P of the upstream players in the oil and gas sector. Then you go down to midstream, you can have equipment services companies. Then you can go downstream. Then you can have these refineries and things like that. And also, most of the support and services is located between mid and also downstream. But again, what I want to mention here is that when things happen in a macro events happen, then you have to drill down to which sector you want to go into and which company you want to go into. And I personally like those companies have high margins, high dividends, high net cash. These are the areas that I always look into. I recently over the past 2 quarters we have been coming out with ideas related to pipes, valves, and fittings company like Pentec and also Wasco. These are the two companies I think there is opportunity under the midstream segment. But towards the refinery, then that is where the demand will really see a very important role. Okay, why do I say so? Is because when refineries, for instance, if you are having more EV cars on the road, and that will actually affect the demand for oil. I mean, you pump petrol lesser, and therefore the refineries are not making that huge. The demand for refineries will be lesser and lesser. So that's why when you understand this kind of information, that will actually help you to understand which industry under which value chain you should go into, and to go in depth into which company analysis point of view. So all in all, I'm trying to give you an idea that if you're looking at the hibiscus or the upstream, you have to look at the volatility of the crude oil prices, and that is where uh, the most of the crude oil prices will affect the share price of hibiscus. But if you're looking into midstream, definitely they're going by contract. So which means that if hibiscus is fully loaded in terms of their E&P, day by day they are increasing their production and things like that, then the midstream players will actually benefit. So the offshore players, things like that will actually benefit. Then until the demand side refineries, then it would depend on the whether more people are pumping petrol and things like that. So if economic activity is still um, a concern in the China or even India or even in Malaysia, then the refineries may not be so exciting. And because they have taken up, the crude oil price at a higher price and things like that, right now it's not back to the previous price, and therefore they need some time. There is a time lag of maybe 3 months to 6 months before they can actually see some earnings. So that's why right now may not be the right timing for refineries, but it may be good in the next 2 quarters because they have bought in the crude oil maybe in the past 2 quarters, and right now it has spiked up to higher, so they can actually sell off the oil. I mean, that is the general idea of different value chain. We have different timing of their time of flourishing, and therefore you need to understand which are the timing that you need to follow through. So I've explained on the value chain of the company. If upstream, midstream, and downstream, then you have to know where to find this information, and also you have to understand that all the different players will have different timing of flourishing in terms of share price, and uh, how their share price will go up will also depend on the factors that is affecting them. So that's why I say upstream will have different factors affecting them, midstream will have different factors, and also downstream will have different factors. Okay, so far so good. I hope you can understand most of things. So if you have any questions, you can put in the Q&A later on. We will, uh, you know, uh, take the question from the floor. But before that, we will talk about under the industry um, of analysis, what sort of things that you have to understand. So even in a technology sector, you have to understand which are the beneficiary of the first phase, second phase, and third phase. Such as the recent one would be NVIDIA. a lot of people are going into AI. Therefore, you know that they are the one that is coming out with the AI chips or related the powered the chips that's powering up the AI related products, and therefore Nvidia is the one flourishing. But down the road, can TSMC benefit out of it? So that it will be mid and downstream. So that you have to understand when the value would actually go down to each of the midstream and downstream. And right now, it seems like Nvidia is the one that is reaping all the profits. But when is timing towards the mid or downstream? There must be a timing, so you have to monitor what kind of data you have to monitor. So different phases of the value chain, you have to understand what are the factors that is affecting it. Then you can actually sort of like form a thesis out of the all this data. So on value chain in oil and gas, just now I mentioned the E&P part, the midstream and downstream. There are a lot of areas that you can actually look into, transportation, refining, pipeline transportation, all this liquefaction transportation. Similarly, we have all these offshore and offshore support and services companies as well. So all these will actually be part and parcel of what you have to understand, and basically you need to know which are the area you are going into, and therefore from that point you have to know what factors. Then you go up again to understand where can you find the data. So that is the whole idea out of this situation. And for a supply part, we have to just know what kind of supply or where the supply coming from, and also where are the demands coming from. Then from this point of Saudi, Russia, Iraq, US, it's very interesting because the top four is actually the one that is supporting the a lot of percentage out of the global demand, global supply. Sorry. So the Saudi Arabia OPEC, OPEC situation here is that if OPEC continues, if they are the biggest and largest, Saudi Arabia is the largest, country that is actually exporting oil. Will that impact the oil prices if they, shout, you say that, right now I want to cut 2 million production or 3 million production? Will that affect? So it is also, when you see this supply situation here, any policies coming out from all these, countries will actually affect the crude oil prices, and therefore you have to speculate whether they are continuing with that statement of cutting the oil production, or they are not cutting oil production, increasing production. So those are the statements that is very important. And right now, I believe it will continue to stay on the cutting of production kind of path, because throughout 2015, when the oil collapsed, they don't have the opportunity to continue to reap the profits out of these high elevated crude oil prices. So therefore, right now they have the chance to hit at perhaps, I mean, we are just saying in a speculative way to say that maybe Saudi Arabia or the OPEC wants to hit on US, kind of thing, and therefore they are trying to craft some policies related to cutting production, and that will affect the crude oil prices. And right now, Russia also banning the export of oil as well, and therefore that is also affecting the sentiment of crude oil, and therefore crude oil has been elevated since since the Ukraine-Russia war. It was 140 per barrel. Right now, it's the lowest point recently before the spike up is about 72, 71 US dollar. But it has been hovering around that level for many months before the spike up recently towards above 88, and the war between the Israeli and also the Palestinian war has actually erupted. So what I'm trying to say is that the global supply or the policies coming out from statements coming out from all these countries will actually affect the overall situation of crude oil, and therefore that will actually dictate how you are going to invest in the oil related counters. And also global demand, you can see that it is near towards 101 million barrels per day. So that is the demand side of things. So just to give you an idea, if the supply is more than this, then therefore the crude oil will go down. If the supply is lesser than this one, the demand is higher than supply, then the crude oil will go up. That is just a general view of things. We haven't input the so-called risk premium, geopolitical tension premium into the crude oil, and therefore that will actually impact the crude oil prices. Okay. So under company analysis, I think I just go through it very easily. You can actually go to Bursa Marketplace to come up with this kind of table. It is within Bursa itself and very easy to use. And you can just check through what are the analyst recommendation. First of all, you can check through the PE, you can check through the PB, yeah, estimated PEG, dividend yield, and things like that. So we believe that Bursa's initiative is very good in terms of how they put out the information for investors, so you can actually glance through most of it. So again, I want to mention when it comes to company analysis, I would love to use always the company that has earnings at least for 1 or 2 quarters, and then growing earnings. If not, they must have at least growing margins. Okay, what I say here is that if their net profit has dropped Q on Q, but the margins have increased, that could actually be one of the companies that I want to invest. And other than that, what I always look at it is dividend yield. I love to look at dividend yield more than 5-6%. Then I would go in depth to understand whether this company's technicals is on a very good track or not. Then I would actually put inside the basket of stocks for people to invest. I think this round we did put in, I think, Wasco, if I'm not mistaken. Last round we did put in Charimin, and also I think Charimin Wasco was last quarter. So this quarter may have some, but not many. So one of them is T7 Global, and one of the other one is Mohiba related, slightly related to construction and also the oil and gas sector. Okay, so that is some of the ideas behind it. So this is the Bursa Marketplace page. So you can actually check out their page. I think it's very interesting. It's easy to understand, and you can know what category they are in, and therefore it straight away gives you an idea of very interesting insights about this company analysis part. Okay. So I shall not go through this because I think it's just basically to understand what are the data you can look for to have macro understanding of it. Then go down to industry analysis, industry publication and reports is important as well, but sometimes you need to pay for that. Normally, I would love to look into company financial statements to understand their current situation and also prospects of it. Then you can also look at market research report as well. So these are the areas that you can actually come up with, you can form your investment case study using all these data. Okay. So coming back to what we want to achieve ultimately is try to find out what factors that is affecting banks. Say for instance, definitely banking is tied to the GDP growth. When GDP is growing, the earnings shouldn't be negative. That is the idea here. Consumer sentiment is important as well. Loans growth, and you can look into the sector picks for that purposes. Crude oil, you can look at macro factors, policies driven. I said that when OPEC or Russia come up with statements that will impact the share price, or the crude oil price first, then that would impact the share price later on. And also the supply and demand of oil, the narrative is very important. So whether China is recovering or contracting is also very important to understand whether the oil price can sustain going forward or not. And in crude oil related sector as well, you need to understand how EV cars are actually impacting, whether you will pump more petrol or pump less petrol. So that is ultimately, 5 years, 10 years down the road. But still, I think right now the infrastructure is still not conducive enough. And we may have some 5 to 10 years time frame to look at energy stocks. And best out of it is right now, a lot of energy related companies are also turning green, such as they are venturing into, green energy, solar energy as well. And therefore that may help, the whole, what do you call that, the companies turning into a different animal, and therefore you need different factors to cater for that particular company. So say for instance, Yinsen is not really that heavily, revenue mix of towards the energy side of the oil related side of things, and therefore they have also ventured into a lot of solar related companies, and that is where you need to input different metrics to understand this company going forward. So it's not really related to oil, but it may be related to solar related sectors kind of policies, and therefore uh, investing in hibiscus versus investing in this ginseng is different. Okay, so that is the summary part of things. So in conclusion, you always use market trend sector analysis to unlock the investment opportunities, and certainly it will actually give you more ideas and also more solid ideas in coming out with the investment case study. Okay, so that will be my sharing for today. Yep, thank you.
Thank you so much, Louis, on sharing your ideas on how to actually grab the market research and actually how to analyze the sector. But before you go, could you maybe answer some of the questions? Because I believe there's quite a number of questions shared by the participants, and they would like to answer on that as well.
Okay, sure. Which question first?
Let's start off with the first one.
Yep.
Can you see the Q&A?
Yeah, I can see the question. I think there are a few of them. Which one shall we take first?
Maybe you just go with whoever asked first. So, in your opinion, what's a perfect research report?
So I don't think there's a perfect research report, but the research report must contain at least good information about what is the idea from the top-down approach. So which means that you need to know the big picture of it. Like for instance, on crude oil related counters, you need to know what sort of factors will affect the crude oil going higher or lower. That is very important. So if you believe that oil price can go to $300, then that will form a thesis of very bullish sector going forward. So first of all, I would say that the perfect research report will come from the top-down approach to understand the whole thesis about the macro picture until the sector specific and until the stocks analysis. So like I said earlier on, every different segment of value chain, you need to have different factors affecting it, and therefore that sort of variables you need to put in. Like for instance, US dollar, is it important? I would think yes. Then you have to put some assumption towards US dollar and crude oil prices. What is the expectation of crude oil prices? Things like that. So those are the areas that I think is important to understand.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Let's go for the next one. What are the information that you will usually include in while you're creating a research report?
Okay, so just now we have mentioned a few, but other than that, it depends on what sort of investment ideas that you want to bring to. My idea is always you cannot buy macro. Okay, so you have to buy some stock picks, right? So at the end of the day, you need some stock picks, some call to action into the report. So the gist out of this report, I think mainly you need a fair value target price for the company, and if it is a buy call, sell call, you have to state it that. And I think when you are coming to the stock specific analysis, you also need to you need to understand that whatever you or whoever is creating report, writing a report, is just your opinion. But more importantly is market's opinion. You can put, like for instance, today I mean, in terms of the IPO, whoever that is, that comes out with a report, you can always have the net profit or fair value target. But the PE multiple that you give can be different. Like for instance, people can say that this company is 9 times PE. Other people can say that it's 11 times PE. So this is market expectation. So what you expect in terms of earnings or PE may not be the same as the market. So what I'm trying to say here is that you also need to understand that when you are writing a company report, you need to understand that how would the market thinks about this company, and what, I mean, you have to guess. I mean, no one is the market. I mean, I'm an individual. So that's why you need to understand that idea behind the market. What is the market thinking? At least you have some form of thesis of what PE multiple they should be using and what sort of target price they will be looking at. So that is very important. So to input into the report, I think you can have all the information on net profit, justifiable net profit growth. Then ultimately is that PE multiple or whatever valuation method that you are using, you need to form that idea inside your report.
So at the end of the day, there are the uniqueness of the report and how their perspective on the market does matter as well, right?
Yes, definitely.
All right. So I believe this question will actually be very helpful for everyone because for the Booster Idea Research Challenge, yes, it's open for professionals, but in the same time, it's open for every new people that's starting out as well. So what's your advice would you give to someone that's just starting out to write a research report? Because I believe a lot of new beginners that would like to need a head start on how to actually write the report.
I think try to start in a simple manner. Try to form a thesis first of all, which sector you want to write, and uh, I don't have craft into a stone kind of guidelines or SOP on this matter. But assuming you're writing a report for Padini or consumer sector, first of all, you need to understand the consumer behavior, consumer sentiment. Then you may want to also go to their Padini shop to count how many Padini people that is going into Padini shops as well. I mean, those are the areas you can do. I mean, research. I mean, research means you can go to site visit and things like that. You can also use some other data to enjoy these benefits, such as consumer sentiment index, to just gauge briefly what is that. So there is no fixed rule to get to that idea, but the most important thing is that you must be genuine. You have to be genuine in terms of your um, so-called ideas, because only you know whichever method that suits you. Because some people can use different method to judge a consumer sector company like Padini, PJ Food, or Starbucks. Even I have always a saying, when Starbucks increases price in terms of their drinks, definitely their share price will go up. This is always the case, and it has been there for past 2 to 3 years period. And when they increase the price again, then I will know that when they change the menu again, I will know that their earnings will be going higher as well. So I mean, these are the type of things like for instance, automotive sector. You know that right now more and more people are driving Mazda, Kia, and things like that. Then VG Auto will be turning good. So that is kind of you can use that kind of data, like even automotive data. You can actually get it from MAA, Malaysia Automotive Association, if I'm not mistaken. Then you can track which one Perodua is it going higher, or Proton going higher, or whoever going higher. Then you can form your thesis from there. So there is no fixed rule of what should put in, but as simple as getting all this information, I would think that it should be able to form some investment case studies. Yeah.
That's great. But just a quick question. Are you planning to get an EV car?
I think the EV car is not my thing lah. I still believe that I want to have a 2 minute, kind of charging my car or pumping petrol on my car kind of thing.
Because before the webinar starts, we actually did a poll in our Telegram,
Yeah.
whereby we actually asked them what are the most topic that they want, or sectors that they want to talk about during this webinar, and the answer is actually technology. So I believe this will be the main focus. Most of the report will be written on technology because I believe a lot of them are actually really interested with all the AIs going on and how they perceive on the perspective as well.
Yeah.
However, after writing a report, my suggestion for you guys, everyone, start early so that you have more room for mistake and more room for error.
Yeah.
Because nothing is perfect, and you can actually do more as well. So what are the common mistakes to avoid while creating a research report?
Wow, common mistakes. I really can't think of any, because your view and my view always, I mean, different. I'm not the one dictating how you should write the report. But I think common mistake is that you believe into one data too much, and you mislook at some other things, some other more important factors that is affecting it, such as when you are analyzing maybe consumer sector, but you try to go and dig out some other information that is not related to consumer sector. So that is the common mistakes lah. But again, when you are trying to see consumer sentiment, you want to understand perhaps the inflation index, whether inflationary pressure will actually deter people from buying more, consumer behavior will go down, things like that. Or for instance, if you are going to analyze the property market and property sector, what sort of index you should be looking at? Maybe Malaysian house price index. So those are the areas you can actually look for. So I would say that as long as you have there is no right or wrong in writing a report, because there is always an argument to it. Whether the argument is solid enough and you believe in the story enough, then that is that matters. Like for instance, recently that people starts to look at maybe luxury goods and things like that. So people are trying to come out with the sectorial view on the luxury goods, such as investing in also LVMH in the US. So my way of thinking is that currently we are going through inflationary pressure, although it is very sticky in terms of this towards the top 5 of the population in terms of luxury goods. But at the end of the day, how many can you buy? There will be some times of down the road that it will be stagnant. Although there will be more and more people that use that as one of the investment tool to buy in. But if you think that the inflationary pressure will continue to deter the buying or the spending, or China is not improving in terms of their economic activities, then where is the money that is going to buy luxury good? So how much you want to argue that on that sector, it depends on yourself and also your view. I cannot say right or wrong until maybe down the road, 3 months, 6 months, or 3 years, 6 years down the road, then we'll know you're correct. But at least we are not judging whether you're right or wrong, but we are judging whether you are perhaps good in terms of defending your point or not. Yeah, that's more important. Yeah.
So guys, there's no right or wrong in writing a research report. Just make sure you back up your report with reference and citations.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go to this. What is the optimal scope for our sector research? Analyzing the entire value chain, upstream, midstream, and downstream, or focusing on just specific segment?
Or this one, I'm not too sure the judging rubrics, right? It depends on the judging rubrics. But my way of looking at it is definitely you have to know why you choose that segment and how. I mean, first of all, you need to understand what sector first of all. Then secondly is that why you choose the upstream, midstream, downstream, and I think this research, I'm not too sure how you want to I mean, you can surprise me on your research report. I think that is more important, because sometimes I'm too used to my own report style, and therefore I didn't look at other people's report, and therefore maybe people's report can be better than mine. That there's no issue, because you can put in more information. But again, when you analyze more and more things that doesn't really relate to the sector or even the share price, then I think that you're wasting time. So my thinking is always try to do it simple, try to find the most heavy weighted factors that will affect the share price or the sector, then look in detail on that. Like for instance, right now, I mean, past 10 years that there hasn't been a lot of people talking about interest rate affecting stock market. But recently, when Fed is actually increasing the interest rate, then these become more important factor at this current juncture. So when you are putting those things, those data into your report, you need to understand, has it changed for the factor affecting them 5 years back, and 5 years later, will it continue to make sense going forward? So that is more important. So the factors that you're choosing will be very important. Okay.
Right. So let's go for next one. Okay, this one is quite
questions.
interesting. What are the go-to resources you normally visit to gain your idea of researching? I believe you mentioned earlier, or maybe can you showcase to them on how to actually use the Busan marketplace at the moment, so that they can
Okay.
grab the idea?
Yeah, let me open. Wait, yeah, can let me share. Where is the? Just now I can find, but right now it seems like I can't find the thing. Screener, I think it's screener. Okay, let me share the screen right now.
Maybe while you're okay.
Yeah, can you see the screen right now?
Yep, I can see. We can see the
Okay,
screen.
so industry, let's say technology, you say that a lot of people are looking at technology, but I think technology really will rely on two things. One is the interest rate direction, and also second thing is relying on the earnings capability. If you notice that over the past few since the interest rate hike last year, first of all, they reduced the PE multiple expectation of the technology sector. So which means that when interest rate is increasing, the market don't pay higher PE for technology stocks. So that's why when it is trading at 30 times, it was okay during 2020, but it was not okay during 2022 onwards. So that is why the re-rating of PE uh, valuation, it's the one that is making the downside risk towards the technology sector. Then it comes when the demand is down and earnings is down, and therefore the second wave of downward trend is happening because of the earnings capability is not there. The earnings has not been growing. So if you ask me, what I want to see is definitely maybe look at EPS growth of up more than 0% under the technology sector. PE, I don't put anything there. See what are the metrics that I have. You can have 91 here. You can see that 91 here. So let's say you want to have 5% dividend yield, so up to 5% dividend yield, then that is the number there, up to PB1, let's see, okay, then PE, let's say below 10 or 10 to 15 now. That's, oh, 10 to 15, that's so little. Okay, yeah, you can get 24. Then, and also this is very important as well. The alpha indicator, I think, is provided by one of the vendor. I'm not too sure who is the vendor, but they provide this information that is very important. So if you are a technical analysis person, you might want to have six as the momentum, but there is none because right now a lot of companies are down. So that if you put momentum one, then that is where you can get six results. So let's see what is the result. I'm not too sure as well. So let's go in under the show result and let's see whether what can we get. Oh yeah, it's down here. So these are some of the companies out there. So if average rating, I mean, not many people are covering them, so I don't think it's good. Axiata Group is here, but I don't think that is related to technology. It's more towards the telco side. So again, if we remove something, okay, we remove this C to 24 stock that is under this, then you can go through it one by one. So Heytech Baidu is here, but not many of the companies are being covered. DNEX is here. Let's see what are there. Iris is here. HomeSD is here. Not really a decent kind of companies. I'm not too sure why. Maybe we have to go higher or let's see. What is this? OCK group. So yeah, so that's how you go in. Let's see what's inside OCK. So after you go in OCK, then you want to see the financials is here, research is here, analyst consensus charts is here. Um, yep. So this will be you can try to form your ideas using this uh method. But I'm not too familiar with their screening tools, so perhaps you can try out yourself and see what you can gather from this area. Okay. Yeah. So that's it. Any other
I think
questions?
this will be really useful for those that starting out and need some actually ideas on how to actually write the report.
Yeah. Correct. Earnings. Let's
Because
see
in
earnings
terms of
summary.
technology, I would say every supply demand and supply actually comes into play when it comes to macro.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I
let's
mean.
hope for the best
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
all of us.
Okay. Any other
Let's go for the
questions?
next questions. Okay. Um, let me just answer one of the questions. So can we can only choose the sector of banking, crude oil, and go for the research report? Well, no, we don't. The report, despite what was shown by Louis, the report you can write on any sector, ranging from finance to technology to all kind of sectors that you find interesting. It's not limited to just crude oil, banking, or gold. Next one. Or is there any question that you find interesting that you would like to answer?
Okay, complete examples of reports. Can we
Well, I
conduct
see one.
analysis? Yes, sir, yeah.
Nowadays, we see a lot of IPO which have good investment trade or trading opportunity. How do we catch a good IPO trend, and how do we study each IPO? I think this
Okay,
will be a challenging questions.
I don't think so. I mean, those that are good will relate to tech lah. That is what I can see. So definitely tech companies, first of all, I think that's one criteria. Secondly, is that pricing of the IPO is also important. I think when the price is priced below 50 cents, I think that will mean a lot to retailers, and retailers likes those companies that is less pricey. So I think below 50 cents is the sweet spot. So that's why I see that as one of the interesting part lah. Then yeah, so how do we catch a good IPO when yeah, so those are two areas that we always look at, whether it's related to tech. And today Minox just did their IPO, and they are expanding into semiconductor, and they are oversubscribed by 100 and I think 140 times, yeah, if I'm not mistaken. So I mean, when oversubscription is so high, it tells you that it's good. But how do you know when it is oversubscribed, right? I mean, you wouldn't know until the day that you got uh, rejected or accepted for your ballots, lah, right? So I mean, the few recipe of success is, I think, below 50 cents and tech related for now. Yeah.
Okay, so I believe you found some of the questions you would like to answer.
Wait, let me check. I think some ask about, so we always need to make assumption when generating report. I think yes, this is definitely you. As an analyst, you need to have a view. No matter you are wrong or right, you must have a view. You must at least have, like for instance, crude oil. What is the range that you are expecting in the next 1 quarter, 2 quarters, and all in order for you to come up with the earnings, model, then you need to use that crude oil assumption. So assumption is very important. Even you are writing plantation companies, you need a CPO price assumption, right? So if you are writing on property companies, you might want to understand whether the take-up rate is good. So assumption of take-up rate is very important. How fast they can take up, how fast they can build, those are assumption as well. So basically it's about assumptions now. Okay. What else?
What is the main objective or purpose of market report?
Do you want to answer that? do you all want to answer the objective of this event?
Okay, so
Bursa Idea
before
Challenge.
since you so let me share with you on the Bursa Idea Market Challenge since we are here right now. Give me a moment.
Yeah.
Maybe as I'm preparing the slides to share on the market report, maybe you can answer others' question first.
Yeah, okay. Do we need to add in company in I don't think you need to add in company, right? It's not a stock specific report, so you don't have to add in companies. Yeah. Where can I find market report written by you? Okay. So we have an M Plus online website. We have shared the our knowledge article segment. Most of the reports will be there. You can actually look at that. Um, you can just find a M Plus online knowledge article in Google. Then I think one of the website will be uh, where we publish our reports. What makes a report compelling and persuasive to read? Wow, this is very hard because everyone's appetite is different. So yeah, I can't really comment on this. I think compelling and persuasive, perhaps yeah, like I said, you need to put in certain metrics or certain factors that is convincing enough to relate to that sector. You cannot be using silver for related to gold kind of gold kind of sector, right? So silver price doesn't reflect gold price, so you can't use that. So that's why persuasive means you need to stand on your own on your argument. So you need to persuade yourself first, first of all. Yeah. Okay, so I think Jay has actually shared the screen. You can actually go on.
Okay, so now you all have all these ideas on how to write a research report with all the information and knowledge. Why not give this a chance? Bursa Malaysia is actually having a Bursa Idea research competition right now, whereby you can win up to 10,000 ringgit if you're able to write a tempting report. This is for you a chance for you to prove your equity research skills through the Bursa Idea, and it's quite easy to participate, whereby you just have to utilize the resources and tools on Bursa Marketplace to write a research report, refine those data, register, and submit the report. You stand a chance to win up to 5,000 ringgit if you get able to be the winner. However, the second prize, third prize is still very tempting as well. The judging criteria is very simple. It will be based on the research methodology that includes quality of data information, significance of the finding, coherence of the idea and analysis, and of course, the quality of the ideas and how it catalyzes the risk analysis. And of course, it depends on how you structure the report. So as I mentioned earlier, start early so that you have more time for room and error. And yep, as for the terms and condition, the more in-depth is all in the website. You can actually have a look on it in the Facebook, or you may scan the QR code to actually join the Bursa Idea Research Challenge as well. So maybe this is the judging rubric that like everyone is mentioning about earlier. 30% is based on the research methodology, 20% is based on the significance on the finding, another 20% it will be on the quality and etc. I believe you all can read through it. Yep, that's about it on the judging rubric, and I believe the prizes is there to wait, and that's all from my side. Maybe we could continue on the answering the question. I believe there's a lot of questions. You are on the hot trend right now.
Are we on time? Do we have more time to it?
Yep, we still have 9 minutes up to we had 9 to 10 minutes, so maybe we can still answer a few more questions.
I think the question that asks is it compulsory for us only to use Bursa platform and cover Malaysian sector? I don't think there is a fixed
It's not compulsory for all of you to use the Bursa market tools to actually write on the ideas. However, it's advisable for you all to have a look, because all of the tools and analytics report is all prepared inside. I mean, all the tools are all ready, so why not take advantage of it? Okay.
Someone asked a question in the chat. Okay.
Maybe I have a look on the chat.
Should this report focus to persuade investors into investing the sector? Could it be a neutral insights about sector? I think it's all right. It's all right to put in neutral insights. I think neutral insights is also a view to say that you have to hold that sector. For instance, there is no upside, no downside means you don't have to sell, but you can hold on to it. I think one of the sectors that I can think of under this scenario is consumer sector. Always is a good, neutral whole kind of thing. And the more important thing to understand from this sector is that what matrix you say that is a whole. That is your argument. So you say that maybe inflationary pressure is high, people are not spending, things like that. Then it can be a whole call, a neutral call to that. It is not a sell because consumer you still need to buy food and drinks and things like that. So it's not a sell, but it's not a buy, but it's gradually outpace kind of sector. So I think that could be the idea behind it. Okay, other than that.
Okay, Win Cho. Yes, the registration and submission is to do it together. So maybe you can have a look on the judging rubrics and write a report first. And then once it's ready, just put it up and submit. to us. Our class just started trading in Bursa with more 200,000, and we have zero knowledge. Can you share any tips for us?
Which one? Sorry.
I think that's okay because we still have other questions to look for. Can we analyze the subsector of technologies such as semiconductor?
Yeah, I can. I think that is a part and parcel of the value chain part, right? If they are in design phase, or you can look for design related sector, or they are in the OSAT or whatever testing equipment part, then you can actually just do a write up on that. I believe that is a very niche sector to subsector to look at. So I mean, broad base is one thing, but you have to drill down to what oil and gas counter, oil and gas segment. There is a upstream, midstream, and downstream. So why do I choose upstream and midstream and not downstream and things like that? So you have to pretty specific in terms of which sector you look at. Because if you are looking at just a broad base, might as well you buy the ETF. Then you don't have to look at any other things. So the idea of this, I think, it should be crafting the investment case so that you can actually put your money into a specific sector. I mean, technology is a broad one, but if you can look into NVIDIA is like a design related segment. Then Facebook is also tech, but they are more towards the social media, e-commerce sort of like platform or whatever it is. So different tech sectors, you can actually look at different subsectors as well. Yeah.
All right. I think it's about time for us to end the webinars. But before we end, Louis, do you have any suggestion or recommendation for the participants before we end it?
You mean stock tips, is it?
It's okay. It's okay. It'll be based on your suggestion, and as long as it fulfills the appetite of the participants, I think that will be happy.
No, I don't think I have any stock picks for today. But I think to write a good report, like I said earlier on, we have to understand what factors are affecting these sectors or even subsectors. Then you try to form a thesis and try to get more information from, like what I said earlier on, mosaic theory is like you get pieces and pieces of data from different places, different sources, but you can patch it up together and form a good investment study. I think that is very important for normal investors, because sometimes this information out of nowhere may actually affect the sector. But if you can pick up that information and try to put it inside a report, I think that is the best. So but don't try to overdo it. Means that don't purposely go and look for something and purposely put it inside your report. I don't think that is necessary. But at least you know that based on the over the past years record of uh, um, past years of in the what we call it, the data is affecting the share price movement or the sector's movement, then you can use that to come up with the investment case study or the sector analysis. I think that's more important. So don't purposely go and pick those data that you are unfamiliar with to put inside a report. Try to find the data or the so-called investment factors that will affect the sector itself. Yeah. Okay. So that's the closing remarks by me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Louis, for sharing your opinion with us on how to write a research report. Guys and girls, and everyone, if you all have more questions, please join our Telegram group. And if there's any, you can just put in the question in there and we'll answer it accordingly. I'm sure you all have plenty more questions. However, we have come to the end today. Do join the Bursa Idea Research Challenge and see you all next week.